Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are here for episode, or I guess Bleach, I should say that first, right? Bleach 1000 Year Blood War, Season 1, Episode 13. This is the finale. As you guys know from the last video, I just got done watching episode, I guess unless you just tuned into 13 and not 12, but, I just watched episode 12, and at the end of this episode, I'll be doing a discussion of 12 and 13 because I didn't do a discussion of the last one since I'm watching them back to back. I just wanted to split up the videos because it makes it easier for syncing and everything the way that I do my videos and all that. So, yeah. I have all my notes here that I wrote down for the last episode to help me remember and everything, but yeah, I guess since I haven't even done discussion yet, we might as well just jump right into this episode and we'll talk about all of it at the end. So, yeah, we're going to start here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Sorry for clearing my throat 30,000 times. Yes, right where we left off. What happened to Misakumi, too? Oh, shit! Well. Okay. That's how. Noetsu. And he's here again. Now that he's aware, he can continue. The sad music. Whoa. Oh, shit. Well, damn. That seems impressive. I'm gonna cough to clear my throat because it just feels like there's something right there. Excuse me, guys. Well, that took no time at all. Alright. Interesting. We got the last time of seeing this opening. Man, don't know what's up with my throat tonight. And there's that moment. There's the Asochi that he transformed. Oh shit. I forgot to write down in between these two episodes. I wrote down a few things that happened in after credit scene. Seeing Uryu in the opening made me forget that Katagiri was was Uryu's mom, which is cool. It makes sense with like that connection there seemed to be between those two, that they'd get together. Interesting. Some training in the captains. able to fight without it. Ah. Okay. Hi. So can he already Bankai? He's saying to master it, not to learn it. Interesting. Hey, this guy's okay. That's nice. I am. I would take all the time off I needed and just lay there. Ugh. What the hell's that thing? Whoa. Oh god. Creating a new Asikoji Jizo. I said that wrong, but I think I was sort of close. This fucking guy. Aw. I feel like his name is in the tip of my tongue. Somehow I almost remember his name. Yeah, we saw that scene already. This too. That's a big doggy. God damn it. I'm pretty sure I called Sajin the wrong name like a bunch of episodes ago, and I think I was aware of it at the time, or maybe a little bit after I realized it. But this whole time I haven't looked up his name and I've been trying to remember. And I didn't remember until just now when they said it. Well, I think I forgot about trying to remember the name for several episodes. Why is he more humanoid, whereas the Great Elder is more Shih Tzu? Well, shit. Alright, they're gonna fight. Oh, God. His Asochi just landed ass up. What? I like that art. That's cool. Zangetsu. Say goodbye. What does that mean? Oh! One of them, he broke his thumb. Oh, shit. What? No me. Just creating a forge? Alright. Oh god, the hair! The bust! I mean, the hair! Ugh! Ah! No! No, 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 no. 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 I don't like you. I don't like teeth shit. Alright. Hmm. Oh shit. Right. Ah. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Yep. Pretending. Kind of, kind of along the lines of my theory. Not quite, but... does look a lot like him. I actually didn't put that connection together. Well, damn. Well, he doesn't like the rain. Well, shit. If he's technically a manifestation of his powers, then he might not be a bad guy. In here, anyway. Obviously, the actual Quincy King is. Except for the name I told you. No lies except for that. Huh. Well, shit. He's got a similar weapon. Ooh. Alright. Oh, shit. Oh, Zangetsu. I genuinely couldn't remember if he became antagonistic or was on the side or not. Damn. Oh shit! What is this? I didn't realize how much time has passed. Shit. Oh, I love this track. I love this so much back in the day. I know it's different. It's like a remixed version, but it still has like the vocals. This is cool imagery. Nice. I can't believe it's already almost over. I feel like there's some kind of mistake. The last episode went by fast, but... Alright, let's see it, baby. Or should I say... see them. You're both Zangetsu to me. Evaporated it. Ugh. Yep. Dual wield. Okay, cool. Although they faded. I don't know what that means, but... Alright. Cool. That's... Ooh, we're back at the king, of course. Ah. Yep. They spoiled this in the opening. But I also kind of remembered it. Alright. Shit. God damn, I can't believe how fast that episode just went. That was insane. Alrighty guys, that is it for episode 13, and that's it for this core of Bleach. Obviously, there is more. There's clearly more coming. We just don't know when, which is fine. Honestly, I'd rather them give a quality season than try to do, like, long running, right? Because long running, you always get in that position where, like, they can't keep up the animation for, like, the important bits and everything. But yeah, holy crap. I have so much written down because of going through 2 episodes. Yeah, so real quick, as you guys know, I mentioned it in the earlier episodes. I guess if you happen to tune into the end and not the beginning, I read the manga a long time ago. There is a lot I don't remember. Like, I remembered there was something up with Zangetsu, like the form we knew as Zangetsu. but I couldn't remember exactly how it resolved. I actually thought he was antagonistic. Like, I thought it was one of those moments where we fought him here. That's where it was in my mind before going into it. But no, it was more about acceptance and everything, which I like a lot more than just like, oh, now we have to fight, you know. I'm glad it wasn't antagonistic, but yeah, I knew that Uryu went to that side. Now, yeah, I can't really say more than that. There's more I know about those bits, and all I want to say is last episode, because the thing is, I don't want to spoil for you guys who haven't read the manga, right? Hopefully this isn't like, I'll just say it, whatever. It's not really direct spoilers. I just want to talk about something they said last episode. They mentioned that the Quincy King took away the powers from Masaki, as well as killing Uryu's mother, right? Um, so I just wanted to bring that up, that I heard that, right? So I'm pretty sure I heard that right last episode, correct? Will I the question is will I be able to find that moment? Because I skimmed the line where he said that. Um it was it was after credits, right? It definitely was, because they teased the what happened 9 years ago, Oswallen or whatever he said. Um I heard of a Quincy tale that sang praises of a king who was sealed away. Oh, he goes through the 900-year thing. Hold on. Let's robbed Quincy's he deemed impure of their powers and made them his own. As a result, Uryu's frail mother, Kanekatagiri, lost her life. So, I guess maybe when the Quincy powers were taken from Katagiri, like, I thought that's why I wanted to go back and look. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. That's why I wanted to go back and look at this real fast, because I was like kind of writing down and kind of like talking and stuff at the same time as this moment. So, as a result, she lost her life. So it wasn't that he directly like went up and stabbed her, right? It's that I think it's that he deemed that she was impure and took her powers, and because of that, her, you know, said frail. So maybe without her powers, she couldn't hang on, right? Maybe the powers were what kept her like frail body intact, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because, you know, make theories of what you will with Uryu going to the Quincy King now and joining him. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, but going back to episode 12, kind of going through my notes here in the beginning, we had Urahara running into Masaki, which is, you know, it's always fun when Urahara comes on the screen because he's just, there's so much he's able to know and sense and everything. He's just incredibly smart while also just very very aware of what's going on in the world. And even though we know that he's just a smart guy, I always wonder how much of it was coincidence. Like, was it a coincidence he ran into Masaki there, or did he already have his suspicions? Because he seemed surprised when he sensed the thing that was within Masaki, right? So was it a coincidence that he ran into her there? Or did he intentionally run into her there and then was just still surprised because he didn't expect what he ended up with there? I'm not sure, but I also didn't realize that she was a high school student at the time, which you know, makes it a little bit creepier, that I don't know, because the thing is there's always that, like, the age of the two people, and like as you get older the age gap doesn't matter as much, because obviously if he's 26 and she's 16, that 10-year gap is a big deal, right? That's bad, um but then as Masaki gets older, it doesn't matter as much that he's 10 years apart. Like, there's plenty of couples that are 10 years apart. I know, like, two or three of them that are like that, and they're happy, and it works out fine. So, but it's just those younger years that you have to get past. But it makes it a little more weird to me when you know the person, like when you're already an adult and you know the person going through high school, and then they get out of high school and then you're with them, even though they're of age now. It's within an age gap that is fairly reasonable. I don't know. It's just one of those things that makes it like a little bit weirder. It's the same kind of idea with I felt a little bit the same way. Now, we didn't get the full story, but in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it teased the idea that like during like one of like the campfire videos or episodes with the boy's father and everything, where it showed him like interacting with the mother when she was like extremely young, and then when she was a little older, and then when she was a little older, like kind of leads me to believe that he might have met her when, she was like 2 or 3 years old, and then was around here and there as she grew up, and then ended up, marrying her. I think they were married and having kids and everything. So it's just one of those things, like, with long living entities, it just makes it like weird to be like, oh yes, I watched you grow up and now we're in love, Like, I don't know. It's just like a little strange. But either way, yeah, I didn't know she was a high school student in the last episode. 'Cause, I mean, that's an anime thing, right? Like, um, she easily, if you told me in episode, what was that? That would have been 11, right? If you told me that Masaki was like 22 or 23, I would have believed it, right? At that point. It's just really hard to tell age with anime, at least for me. But yeah, the hollow started to, or she started to like holify or whatever. They needed a solution, and the only solution was to have, or for the most part, the best solution was to have Ishin give up his powers, right? Go into a Gigai that made him human, become the opposite, and have basically, the way I like to visualize it, I don't know if it actually happened this way, but it's like Ishin split into two people. His Soul Reaper powers, like, because it showed him like within Masaki, like defending her, right? I like to think that version of Ishin was just always within her, defending her. It's like kind of an interesting visual, right? Of just having this like guardian within you protecting you for all time. So like his Soul Reaper powers were kind of like there as a guardian kind of thing, but then he also existed in the real world in this Gigai and everything. So, but I expected nothing less from Ishin when they were talking about that, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and like it shocked the hell out of Ryu and everything, and Uryu's like, "Yeah, but are you fine with giving up your life you've led up till now?" And he's like, "Hell no," but she saved me. What kind of person would I be if I didn't save her with the chance that I have? So that was really cool. And they all knew it. Even Ishin knew that this was going to be passed. Like, if he went this way, it'd be passed down through the generations. So, when Ichigo was born, he already knew this was going to happen eventually, which makes sense as to why he's not more shocked, and he's kind of aware of everything that's going on and all that. So, but yeah. Also, he had a Getsuga Tensho, which I guess it makes sense that I was wrong where the white Zangetsu was always his Zanpakuto. So I was, in a way, I was like, because what I was saying, I guess, no, I was just wrong. Because what I had said was that I thought there was something along the lines of the way that Oetsu was talking and everything, that that the sword he's been using up till now has been like a manifestation of the hollow within him, and I thought he needed to manifest a Zanpakuto of the, his Soul Reaper powers, not the hollow, right? I thought it was going to be something along those lines, but no. It just ends up being that, the Zangetsu, I don't know what to call him, the guy that looks like the Quincy King, the Quincy powers within him, I guess I could say, were kind of holding back that power. And as we learned now, in episode 13, he was doing it to protect Ichigo. He didn't want Ichigo to become a Soul Reaper and jump into danger and all of this stuff. So it was definitely interesting. Where was I? I'm trying to think about why. Oh, because I was talking about being passed down to Ichigo and stuff. I was wondering why I got into that power stuff, but they told us before, which I should have taken that hint, that White was made from a bunch of Soul Reapers, which I guess is why White was able to manifest as a Zanpakuto for Ichigo rather than just being, a hollow. He is also part, made from a bunch of Soul Reapers, so it was enough to be an actual Zanpakuto for him. But yeah, we'll talk more about that in a few. Oh, I was also talking about the Getsuga Tensho and everything. So it's interesting that they both had the same move. Now, I'm trying to think. Did, even though I rewatched it recently, I'm not going to remember. I'm trying to think back to when Ichigo learned the Getsuga Tensho, right? It wasn't Ichigo that named it, was it? I'm pretty sure Urahara told him what that move was called, I think. And if that's the case, that would make sense with Urahara knowing Ishin and kind of giving him the name of the ability as a passed down thing. I'm gonna take a sip of water, guys. Okay, sorry about that. But if it was Urahara that gave him the name Getsuga Tensho, it would make sense with him knowing his father's abilities and everything, and kind of passing it on, rather than, I was trying to think of what the significance is of Ichigo stumbling across the same move, but really it's just a similar energy blast that his father did that just used the same name, which, if I'm right, I think came from Urahara, so makes sense. He lied to Masaki, which was a nice little thing. Even though he was I'm pretty sure she knew the whole time that he was lying and all that. So, but that was just sweet that he didn't want her to feel guilty or whatever. So he lied about it, and she probably didn't really bring up the fact that she knew he was lying and stuff like that. So that was nice. So we learned about the truth of the mom's death and everything, which I briefly talked about already when I went back to that, about the Quincy King stealing the powers. But what I didn't talk about is the fact that the Quincy King is the first Quincy, which I guess another thing that I completely forgot about and didn't remember whatsoever is that. So I guess my curiosity is, how did he attain the powers that he got? If he's the first Quincy, then how did he become a Quincy, right? Like, he's kind of like the Adam of their thing. So basically, a long ass thousands of years ago, I'm guessing the way it worked, unless he bestowed powers upon people, and that's what made him the father of the Quincy's, right? Most likely what happened was he, had a wife or whatever and had kids. They went off, had kids, they went off, had kids, and that spread his line, kind of like Adam and Eve with that tale and everything. And eventually led down, like, and he said, like, his blood, well, they did say his blood is within everyone, so I don't think it was at bestowed powers. I think it really was like an Adam thing where, kind of like how they say that, like, a crap ton of the population has like a blood relation to, like, Genghis Khan or whatever it was, or something like that, because of the fact that he went around and slept with so many people and had so many kids all over the place. But yeah, deemed the mom and seemingly Katagiri not worthy of their powers, stole it from them. And so was it a coincidence that he stole her powers? Like, did he steal her powers in that moment where she was in danger, right? Or did he steal them earlier and she just didn't realize it? Like, I'm wondering, like, how the order of those events went. Like, was he like, ooh, if I steal them right now, this monster will take care of her for me and I won't have to deal with any, backlash or anger, right? But definitely a good way to give Ichigo the motivation he needs is that, hey, your mother could have protected herself if it wasn't for this guy taking her powers and everything. But yeah, that was some interesting shit. I really didn't expect in episode 12 to get that in the after credit. I expected them to cliffhanger that in episode 13, which it makes sense that they wouldn't have to cliffhanger it because they already planned on releasing 12 and 13 at the same time. So, but yeah, we jumped into episode 13 with Ichigo being summoned immediately back to the Oetsu's place and walking past all the Asuchi. They're like bowing to him, and he picks them the right one immediately. Didn't have to fight for a while like they did before. Granted, he already did the fighting, so maybe like that fighting carried over and helped, but maybe it's just that he's so aware of himself for the most part now that he was able to pick one. The forging process was an extravagant event. I don't know why they don't just always have a forge created. Why'd they have to have someone there to, like, create the earth, turn it into, like, a blast furnace and everything? Like, why not just keep a furnace there and built? Like, why all, like, but he is a flashy dude, so why not just rebuild the furnace every time they need to do this? But yeah, we went into the whole bits that some of it already talked about with, the Quincy powers within him trying to protect him from becoming a Soul Reaper, and kind of realizing that as he went and following Ichigo through his journey, Ichigo won him over and ended up having him root for him rather than trying to suppress him. And I love that Ichigo was like, hey, within me, I'll always see both of you as Zangetsu and everything, and then manifest as dual swords, which is cool. It was something that I think that was something that I remembered from the manga, but then also in the opening, there's a moment when you actually see him walking with both swords in each hand. So, unfortunately, that was another thing that they spoiled in the opening for people that may not have read the manga. I don't understand the significance of them disappearing and then him saying, like, he will fight himself now or whatever. Well, that came out wrong, but you know what I mean. The line that he said at the end there, I don't know if that was, like, I mean, he's definitely still going to use those swords, right? It's not going to be something where like he fights in other methods or whatever and just like relinquish those blades because they kind of like faded into light. So I guess maybe it was just part of the forging process kind of thing, but either way, I'm really looking forward to getting into what's next because obviously, I mean, there's not much. I mean, really, the next thing is just preparing for the battle to come against the Quincy King, and then the battle happening, right? And I imagine the rate this show has been going, I imagine the preparing process isn't going to be very long. So we're probably going to be, whenever this picks up again, we're probably going to be getting into the fighting fairly quickly, I'd imagine. So, but we had some other stuff this episode, which was interesting, other than what was going on there. We had Hitsuga Toshiro, there we go, I was trying to think of his first name, talking about how he lost his Bankai, and he worked so hard to perfect the Bankai that maybe, I mean, he didn't actually come out and say it, but, I mean, he did say he needed to be retrained, but, you know, his normal fighting ability without the Bankai might have suffered a little bit. And so now he's gonna be going into, you know, he went into this training place again, this, why can't I think of it? Not, I don't know why I keep wanting to say temple. It's not a temple, it's a dojo kind of thing. And learning the basics again and everything, so that way he can fight in this next battle without his Bankai and everything. So that was interesting. We also had a little bit of training for now I can't remember her name. Crap. Wow. Why can't I remember her name? The Soifon. There we go. Soifon was up there like training and everything too. So we have a lot of the. We had Sajin go into the cave talking to the big doggy, which is interesting. I guess because he's like an elder, maybe they've evolved over the years, you know, down the bloodlines and everything. Because Sajin just walks on 2 feet, kind of like a person. Is it because like they talked about how he mimics he like joined the Soul Reapers and mimicked being a person while he was doing it and everything. So like, is that why he walks on 2 feet? Or is it like even before he chose to be like a human, did he walk on 2 feet? I guess I don't really know. I just thought about that now. During the episode, I was like, well, why does he walk on 2 feet like a human? But, you know, I was thinking that right after they did the whole thing about him pretending to be a human and just didn't even put the pieces together. But, like, does that mean the Great Elder, if he wanted to, could walk on 2 feet just like Sajin and be fine? Or, you know, I don't know. But it just felt like Sajin was a little bit more humanoid dog guy rather than, you know, kind of like what the Great Elder looked like of walking on all fours. But and his hands, right? His hands aren't necessarily like paws, I don't think, right? He has like normal hands, I think. So I guess that is another note for like the human part. So maybe they really did just evolve over time kind of thing, and the Great Elder is like super super old kind of thing. But yeah, that was pretty cool having all them like training up. It was nice just catching up a little bit on. I'm sure everybody else is also training, I'd imagine. I imagine it's not just the ones they showed here. They also teased about Shuhei's Bankai, which is something, once again, I don't remember whatsoever. If it was, I mean, I imagine if they show it to us, it was also shown in the manga, which means at one point I read it. I just don't remember at all. Maybe when I see it, it'll like flash back to me and I'll remember, but at least at this moment, I cannot remember whatsoever what his Bankai even begins to look like. But as I said during the episode, I'm pretty sure he already has his Bankai. Kensei, is that his name, was just saying that he needs to refine, like hone it and make it better, right? Perfect it. So interesting stuff. And then we also, one of the last things I wrote down, because I forgot to write it down earlier in the episode, was the tease of them reforging Asi Koji Jizo, or however you say it. I like butchered the hell out of trying to spell it, but I was just trying to like get something down to remind myself. So seemingly reforging it in some way himself to be modified and different. So I'm excited to see that. I have a friend, I guess it's not too much of spoilers because you know he's gonna fight eventually, but I have a friend that's really excited to see that fight animated. Basically, is whatever fight. Shit. What's his name? I'm so bad. There's so many names. I'm watching so many shows. Crap. Why can't I remember it? It's like, once again, it's another one of those that's on the tip of my tongue. Mayuri, I know, is his first name. Kurotsuchi. There we go. Thank you. God damn it. But yeah, obviously, most of the captains, or probably all the captains, are going to have a fight in the upcoming battle. And, my friend is just excited for Mayuri's fight. So, once again, it's another thing. I don't really remember Mayuri's fight in the manga, but my friend does, and he said like seeing it animated, he's super excited for it. So I'm pretty sure he said that fight was like, I don't think Mayuri was one of his favorite characters like until that fight, and then like he became like his favorite character. So, but exciting stuff. But yeah, as a season as a whole, I do believe that there was some pacing issues. I think it moved a little fast, especially in the beginning. I think maybe the second half did a bit better, from what I felt anyway, personally. But the first half, just, we were in, all of a sudden, like, everything was happening. Like, it was just so much happened in those episodes that, like, it was hard to even just like stop and process it. Like I wasn't like the biggest fan of the pacing that they ended up going with, but you know, it is what it is. The new animation is, as someone who literally just got done rewatching Bleach, I like the animation. It looks really good, but it doesn't feel like the same show. Like, I almost wish that they went for like maybe try to have it updated and everything, but I don't know, like try to do like a retro look, but with like upgraded a bit. I don't know, because it just looks different, right? And they changed a lot of the colors of some of the effects and everything. There was like, going from rewatching Bleach right before this started to jumping into this, like I was like, okay, yeah, these are the same characters and everything, but it didn't really feel like the same show. So, but you know, once again, it's another one of those things where the times are changing. That's just kind of one of the faults of the show stopping for, you know, what, like over 10 years or something, probably longer than that. And then coming back, it's going to be jarring, going from those older episodes to the newer ones. And honestly, some of the fighting animation was like good, but I felt like because they were rushing so much, like they kind of did like pretty good on a lot of different fights, but I don't think any one of them was like, holy shit, that was amazing. Now, maybe they're trying to save that animation budget for the final fight, you know? Like, some of the shit we saw, like, people getting cut in half was crazy, don't get me wrong. Some of the visuals with the fight with, like, Kenpachi versus Unohana and everything were, like, the visuals were crazy, and there were, like, brief moments of, like, cool choreography and fighting animation and everything, but none of it was on the level of like I'm trying to think of other anime, like like sometimes Naruto and like I'm watching Boruto right now, sometimes they like you can tell when they really heavily invest in the animation and it just goes crazy and it's badass and awesome and you can like see them like doing all their movements and everything rather than like sometimes when they're not investing that much they just blur it all, like you just hear like ting 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 and you don't see any movement at all really, or you see like little flashes kind of thing. But when they invest in it, you see every movement, and the choreography is amazing, and like it's crazy what I'm watching and everything. I didn't really feel like that for this. Like it felt steadily good through the whole thing, but none of it felt like holy shit. Like looking back on that fight, that was amazing, and it's gonna be something I remember. You know, it just wasn't like that. So hopefully with the coming season, like whatever they do more, hopefully they take the time to, because that's the thing is I want to see these fights animated. That's the point of watching it in animation rather than just going and reading the manga. You know, if I wanted just like a flash show of little scenes, I'd just go read the manga again, you know. I want to see some badass animation for these characters fighting and all that. So hopefully there, and I'll take some slower episodes if that's what it takes, because I know heavy animation is something that's expensive, right? And it takes a lot more animators and everything to do a really well animated episode. Um and if they need to have some goofy episodes with like Kon and Don Kanoji and stuff like that, in order to do that, I'm okay with that for having like stellar animated fights rather than just being like, all right, you know, we had them kind of like teleport to each other and hit their swords like 5 times, and that was the fight, you know, and then one of them lands a blow. Like that's what I felt like some of the fights was just the characters just like boing, 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 boom, you know, oh, it's over, kind of thing. So, you know, but anyway, great stuff. I'm really looking forward to, like, with all that being said, I am looking forward to it coming back. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing Ichigo use these new weapons, and with all that revealed and everything, we're going to be getting into like the crazy battle portion where we'll be watching a lot of fights and everything. So yeah, guys, I very much enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Hit that subscribe button if you did. Check out my Patreon if you want to see more from me. Link in the description below. There's all kinds of unique content that I only watch on there. Like Better Call Saul is on there. Won't be. I eventually release those things to YouTube, but not for a while. Things like Tribe 9 isn't released yet. Mob Psycho season 2 and 3. I watched season 1 before I started doing the channel. So, but I just recently did 2 and 3. That's on there. Won't be released for a while. I still have to finish releasing Cowboy Bebop, and then I think Tribe 9 is after that, if I'm not mistaken, and then Mob Psycho starts getting released. So if you want to have some extra content like that, check out my Patreon. Link is in the description below, or it should be popping up on the screen. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my future reactions. Bye-bye.